Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you very much. I've got some slides. I'm sure you're all a bit sick to death of people throwing up slides. I'll try and keep my P's and Q's to myself this time. My name's Alistair Norman. I work for a company called, and a part owner of the company called Tomorrow People. And Patrick asked me to do this presentation about 3 months ago, and I probably sent it to him about 24 hours ago. So preparation for me is one of those things that hopefully I'll talk through in the presentation. How to package HubSpot services and inbound marketing services profitably. So I'm just going to talk through our journey that we've gone on from being a 3-man shop to a 13-man shop in 12 months, going from about 150 grand to probably just shy of £1 million, and just talk through what we learned along the way and how we're doing it to make ourselves profitable and happy, I suppose. Asked to do that. I just thought I'd sort of set the scene for where we are and who we do and what we do. My name's Alistair. Tomorrow People, we're like a 13-man shop in Birmingham, and for those who don't know where Birmingham is, I've put a little map up there, and at the bottom I've put some key characters that have come out of Birmingham over the last few decades or centuries. Obviously, the guy in the middle you'll probably know, it's probably one of the most famous exports of Birmingham, and the other two on the left and right, I don't know whether anybody's got a guess. What on the left? No? Tolkien, so Lord of the Rings. The guy on the right? No? Gosh. Cadbury, so you're the Cadbury Empire. And so those are the sort of main people that have come out, and obviously Tomorrow People are another famous export. So I've got 2 things to talk through today, really. One is Tomorrow People, the business, and Zuba, our training company that we have, and was really born out of the challenges we had of servicing different markets. So I'm going to talk through Tomorrow People is our consultancy, and Zuba is our training business, and I'll talk through the relevance of that as we go through the presentation. So what I thought I'd do is just try and simplify it as much as possible, because I'm quite a detailed person, but I also try and think of something a little bit further in the future. But the challenge and the things that hopefully I can talk through today are some of the expectations that we have and how we manage expectations internally in our business, but also how we do that with our clients to make sure that we are all on the same page and make sure that we're actually delivering tangible, scalable revenue for the business. And therefore, I thought I'd take another famous person, export from the UK, saying expectations is the root of all heartache. And I think everybody who's in the agency world can really appreciate that, and to make sure that you're always setting expectations and managing them, but you've got to do that profitably. Yeah? So there's no point of throwing lots and lots of headcount to please an audience that are never going to be pleased. So what we'll talk through today is how we set expectations to make profit, because that's what we're in it internally to make money out of inbound marketing. And I suppose the key thing with that is that I try and draw what we want to do in terms of our objective as a business. And I think, you're all partners in the audience today. You've really got to set the expectations of what you personally want to get out of this. So do you want to grow quickly? Do you want to have a nice little business that's making good money? Do you want to sell it? What do you want to do? Because I think if you can qualify that yourself, then you're going to be in a better position to structure your business. I'm going to talk through what our objectives are, which is really going out and looking for elephants. And I'll call an elephant in terms of a retainer. Yeah? So we're looking for clients who want to spend good money, and we want to do that on a scalable fashion. What we don't want is the not-for-profits, the people, the types of customers, or the types of retainers, I'll call them, instead of referring to any of our customers or potential customers as anything on the right-hand side. I couldn't work out what type of animal this was. I thought it might be a skunk, but at the end of the day, it's an animal that's got its head in a pot trying to feed itself. And if we say feeding themselves, customers, they want leads, and obviously this one's gone a bit overboard in terms of what he was trying to achieve is actually getting leads, and he's got his head stuck in the marketing funnel, and he isn't going anywhere. That's clients we don't want, okay? But, and that's a big but, it's really, we don't want that for the consultancy, but we want them for our training side. I'm going to talk through how we service a market, to talk through trying to identify what type of elephants we want from a retainer perspective, and then also talk through how we service a market from getting customers that we do want to work with, but making sure that we're, again, making money out of it and not going down the let's sign them up, let's do a lot of stuff for them and make no money. Okay, so that's what I'm going to talk through, really. So on the left-hand side, really, is talking through an elephant. So what does an elephant look like to tomorrow people? An elephant looks like a company that is wanting to grow. They have turnover of £3 million plus. They typically have a marketing professional in place at the moment, and we're looking to make sure that we can grow with them as an organisation. And therefore, the types of retainers that we look to sell are between £7,000 and £12,000 a month, and we're doing that successfully at the moment. But obviously, that's leaving a big gap of people that we can't service, and that's the relevance of our training offering, and I'll talk through that as we go. But in terms of what we're looking to do is to sell lots of elephants to clients who want to work with us on the long term. And that's the key for us, is making our business and transforming our business to make it extremely profitable, because we're packaging our services. And I'm going to talk through the way we do that. But we're definitely not after not-for-profits in a way of servicing them from a retained perspective. That means they're paying us on a monthly basis. So this is the growth. So I'll throw some numbers up there. Okay, so this is over the last 12 months. We've gone from turning over about £26,000. That's on a month-by-month basis. You've got the line items there. The top line is retained business. The middle line item is project business. Some of that's falling off the back of the retained activity that we do. And then at the bottom is the training revenue streams. Okay, that's the actual numbers. And I'll talk through the story of how we've been able to do that in 12 months, going from coming to this conference this time last year with no clients and being able to turn that around to a point of where we're making 40% margin on our business. So where did it come about? I ended up quitting my job as a marketing director for a software company. And really, we decided to set up an agency. I bought into a small shareholding, so there was 2 people in the business 12 months ago. I was the 3rd employee, and from that, we've then grown the organisation to support the retainers that we're bringing on. The come to Jesus moment was, for me, was when I was using Marketo, and I wasn't getting what I needed in ClickTech, which was the business that I worked in. I looked after 30 salespeople and how to feed them leads by using marketing automation and a £1 million marketing budget. So that's where I came from, and the pressure to deliver for this high-growth organisation was quite stressful, and therefore I left a post-it note on my boss's desk and said I'd quit. No, I didn't really. But at the end of the day, I decided it wasn't for me. So we then decided to buy into Tomorrow People. Tomorrow People was a 2-man agency, as I said before. There was a project guy and there was a branding guy. Okay, so they were a design agency, really. We went from that, we decided to sit around the table. They asked me to come in and help them out, and I knew about all this technology, and I thought the best way to do is start looking at how we could position Tomorrow People as an agency to deliver growth, which they weren't doing at the moment. They were turning over, as I said, a small amount, and it was all project-led business. So what we went through was an exploration over the first few months of how we can then start making some money and also signing up good quality clients, but also getting them happy, which is obviously the key. So we signed up our first retainer, and we thought we were making some good progress. And the reality was that we were looking to move where we had 1,000 people across our website. They were all the wrong people because they were all looking at design services. So we started off, and we had no leads coming in at the very beginning. We then implemented HubSpot. We implemented a sort of basic tactical content program, and started to deliver some good progress for that client for about 2 months, and then they left us, which was one of the biggest mistakes from an expectation management point of view, and it was down to the quality of what we were actually delivering for them, which was below par. So we lost them after a few months, and still had to keep the HubSpot license, obviously. So what did we learn from that? We learned that we didn't communicate to our clients clearly enough, our one client clearly enough around what we were doing. We were talking loads of gobbledygook, so SEO, PPC, content plans, blah, blah, blah. You know, it was going on and nobody understood, I think not even us at a certain stage, what was actually going on in the business. You know, we were basically doing lots of stuff to try and service a client that was never going to be happy. So they were falling into the left-hand side, or sorry, the right-hand side of the elephant slide earlier. So what we decided to do was we go through a way of packaging our services to try and drive a point of differentiation, because everybody said to me, Alistair, you're crazy. You're going into a marketing agency, yeah? You've got no marketing agency experience, yeah? And it's so competitive that there's no way for you to make any money at this, and the market is in a recession. My mother said I was a lunatic. She is probably right. But at the end of the day, what we learned and what we thought was the best way of tackling the problem was to try and position ourselves in the market by taking what is quite a complex subject to somebody who hasn't domain knowledge and try and package it in a way which is going to be easily understood, okay? And that was one of the biggest things that we took a step back and said, look, hey, all this stuff that we're doing could be presented in a different way, a clearer way, and something that we can build structure around as a business. So, the 5 expectations that we set ourselves, the clients, so we all were on the same page and we all understood what we were actually doing for them, so we could ultimately charge them more money, because we're in it to make money. Whereas a lot of people, and again, qualifying your own personal expectation, it depends what you want out of it. Because you can do a lot of stuff, make a lot of people happy, but it's really down to qualifying your expectation. So, what we did to slay elephants, to big elephant retainers, is we developed a 5-step methodology, okay, which was based on the experience that I had previously working in the manufacturing sector, which I think Kuno referenced before, but it was around a 6 Sigma process, which is a lean or continuous improvement process. And what we did, we created 5 steps, which is listening, creating, engaging, transforming, growing/improving. But within those 5 steps, we packaged our services to a point of where we knew exactly to the client what we were offering them, and also they knew what we were selling them, okay? So ideally, we could then start to build some structure around the business. And by going through those 5 steps, which we repeat, we said that we were in a strong position to be able to then start differentiating, because we don't sell inbound marketing services, we sell a continuous improvements and 5 steps to do that. So simplifying our messaging. And then we decided once we'd built those 5 steps and all the activities that sit below it, what we needed to do was then start to brand it, okay, to have some sort of identity. So we decided to go about it and call it Zuba. The reason why we called it Zuba is because one of the interns that was working in the company said, I found this word, it's quite interesting, should we call it Zuba? And that was about as much logic that was put behind it. I'd like to give you some sort of indication that it was some great thought process, but in fact, we just said, find a word, we'll go with it. Just to be a little bit different. So what we did was built a continuous improvement process that sits and what we sell to organizations, and then for when we go through any engagement, we talk through what we do at those 5 steps. Again, making it sensible for the customer, okay? So the first expectation was driving simplicity in what we offer and for them to understand. So talking around buying cycles and selling cycles and making sure that it's something that we can package and go, here's our suitcase, it's 5 steps, this is what we do within those 5 steps. So that was the first thing out of the 5 expectations. I don't know what I'm doing for time. What time is it now? 11:45. So I'm just conscious I'm going quite quickly, and I tend to do that when I get... Sorry, go for it. Yeah, so I'm going to run through each of them. There's actually 6, and I put 2 onto one slide, but yeah, we'll call them 5 for this moment. Yeah, I'm in marketing. I have to do some stupid stuff like this, but yeah. So I'm managing expectations, aren't I? Yeah, there you go. But, you know. So yeah, there are 5. I'm going to run through each one as we go. Please ask questions as we go, because I'm sure that can become a little bit monotonous when I start talking about marketing stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm going to carry on with my simplicity. So simple messaging, simple to understand. We branded it called Zuba. So the next one then is then how we do and make that profitable. Okay, so what is the expectation? Once we've got the client on board with our 5 steps, we then say, right, this is what we do for you. Okay, we don't tell them all the line items, although we present that in a proposal of exactly what we're doing. We say to them, we're going to deliver you results. Okay, very dangerous to do that. So said with caution. Okay, but we say that you will not get any business in for 9 months by using our 5 steps. That's what our first expectation we set with the client, to say, on the left-hand side, this is our ROI calculator that we do with everybody when we're driving an engagement, as I'm sure you all do. But we say our 5 steps is going to take you from a current state on the left-hand side to a future state, and it's going to take 9 months before you get any value back from it. Okay? So that gives us an opportunity to start working in a more of a strategic level with them, because nobody on a board or in a business is going to sign something off that takes 9 months to get back, unless there's another objective that you can actually achieve. Yeah? So the focus for us was all about building a business case and justifying our 5 steps. Question. So the question was, just for the camera, so we're able to, is the ROI never leads or revenue related? Is it related to building brand awareness? Again, absolutely down to the objectives that we qualify with the clients. But in this day and age, the market that we focus on, those elephants that typically sit in the tech sector, so software, services, business service types of company, they're in there to basically start generating revenue. So they appreciate brand, they get it, some of them. But at the end of the day, it is really down to delivering leads and revenue into that. So that's the expectation we set, which is 9 months. But we never sign them up for 9 months, we sign them up for 2 years, yeah? Because we're going for a more strategic approach. But in terms of driving brand, by the content story that you can tell through the approach, that it will certainly deliver to other objectives, but from a qualitative or quantitative perspective, we're looking at delivering a return on investment to them over a period of time, but they're not going to start seeing that till 9 months from placing of order. So how do we do that? I'm sure you all do this all day long, and morning, noon, and night, but we sell them, through that 9 months, we sell them a content strategy. Not surprising to anybody, we're a content marketing agency. But what we do is we do that over quarterly cycles, and we agree all that quarter's content up front, and then we then plan that in and then actually start marketing that the following quarter. That gives us efficiency in the business. It allows us to be very planned and proactive, and it really allows us to start building a framework. Now, this is a basic framework that we have, where we have awareness content, consideration content, decision content, so the marketing funnel, the buying process. But what we have is we structure the content accordingly, and they come in lots of different derivatives, and that's what we as a business sell, but is aligned to our 5 steps, okay? So again, looking at the 5 steps, and I'll just recap them for you. What we have is listening, so we have listening services, and I can provide you, if you like us on Facebook or tweet us on Twitter, you can basically have the detail of what we offer our clients at each of these steps. But effectively, listening service is about understanding what the market is required, the demand in the market. So we're doing a lot of keyword and competitive analysis. We're coming up with a messaging framework, and then we're into creating a content strategy to support that story that we're going to tell, and what content we're going to build. Effectively, once we've done that, we have engagement services, so we have community managers that take that content out, distribute that over, and we get always some good feedback from our community manager who actually pushes that content out. And then we use marketing automation tools, HubSpot, to do the transformation of going from somebody from a visitor to a qualified lead, and that is using lead nurturing, lead scoring, and then finally analyzing that whole process and going back to the beginning again. Okay, so those are the 5 steps that we offer. So the expectations are simplicity, delivering a business case against those 5 steps and making sure that it's set into the long grass in terms of when we're going to actually deliver financial return. And those are the things that are allowing us to move with our clients. Again, we're only into year 1, so this is where we're setting expectations with them. Quarterly content is what we drive as an efficient engine, so the people working within the business to deliver that. And I'll talk about team structures in a bit of who we have and what their responsibilities are. And then finally, we have a strategy to value. So this is a slide that we always put up. We sign people up for 2 years, and it's not a 3-month retainer. It's not getting out after a year. It's like you're committing to us for 2 years, yeah? And for that, okay, you're going to pay us 5, 10, 15,000 pounds a month. But what we're going to do is deliver you competitive strategic value to your organization. And therefore, to make people really understand that strategy and understand the value that we're going to bring to them, what we do is we get them all in a room, and we also get them to define what they're trying to achieve from a workshop perspective. And this is, you know, mid-tier software tech firms, some of the larger ones that I won't go into at the moment, but they are all buying into the fact is that this is a continuous improvement process. This is going to add us value, and this is going to take us 2 years to actually get a competitive positioning. And I'll talk through what a competitive positioning is in a moment. But this is all down to setting the right expectations, that this isn't a short-term view, yeah, to sell big retainers. And that's what we have learnt, and also did quite a lot of research about, to find out exactly how we can actually make some good money. So if we're turning over 800 grand and making 40% profit, that's not bad in year 1. I think basically what we're trying to do is make sure that we are not over-promising, you know, and under-delivering. Because we did that with our first client. Question?
I really like what you were saying, the setting expectations in the 9 months. But I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I know you're in your first year.
Yep.
So how do you, is it really 9 months? Is it more? Is it less? How did you arrive at 9 months? And
Yeah, so,
I know you're just
yeah.
kind of maybe arbitrarily taking it.
I did it before, you see. So when I was at my previous company, I installed Marketo. I was one of their first people who installed it on a global basis. We built a global template of how to use marketing automation, and we were still treating it as an outbound marketing tool rather than an inbound marketing tool. And I learned all the mistakes that you make to be able to come up with a good projection, because I rolled the template out across the business, which there were 19 countries in total that used the marketing automation tool that we built, and learned all the mistakes at their cost, not mine. You know, so that's where we are in our evolution. By no means are we perfect, but we're a damn sight, you know, more ahead in terms of putting a proactive arrangement in with our clients to say, look, hey, this is what we're going to do for you. And we're going to actually give you competitive advantage, yeah? And that is what we're actually going to help you build a brand and a story for your business. And that's how we come to the 2 years and the 9 years. So yeah, so this is the strategy to value. We say it's going from a, sorry, another question. Because I'm a very good salesperson. Yeah, no, so it's different, yeah, it's 5 steps. It's transparent, it's easy. You see, if you see that line going up there, so I'll call it a flight path, we're doing a good job for you. Whether that's more visitors to your site, more leads coming in the door, you know. The issues with, do the sales guys follow up on them? They do. If I go down and say, look, all this stuff is happening, you're not doing anything with them. So it's a change management program we're selling to people. We are not selling HubSpot. But HubSpot is right at the corner of what we're offering. It's the fundamental thing that has allowed us to do that. But transparency is what I'm selling, and moving in one direction. Because how else are you going to do it, is my question to them. Now, what else are you going to do? Yeah? And I don't know whether you challenge your clients anyway. They go, oh, yeah, all this blogging stuff, yeah. It's like, what else are you going to do? How else are you going to generate? Oh, you've never generated one lead for your business in the first, 6 months of doing marketing activity, and you're still spending money on all this stuff that you think you're going to get a return on? You know, we turn people on within the first month, they're generating, from a new website, 3,000 to 5,000 people across the website, yeah, for using this approach. And we're generating upwards of between 150 to 200 leads. That's a business-to-business business, new website. They're offering services, and that's what we can talk through. But thanks for the question. So yeah, in terms of strategy, that's what we're offering. What we are ultimately offering is an opt-in community. So HubSpot is the best example of doing that. But this is what we're saying to you. If you don't want your customers or your potential customers speaking to anybody else, you need to basically get an opt-in community. So this is the fundamental thing, although the diagram probably isn't greatest because I've tried to make a little few amends and I'm not a designer. And I'll get shot for putting slides like this up. But it's an opt-in community that we sell to organizations. Yeah? So what that means is that if you start listening to the voice that we're creating for our clients and you opt into that, whether it's a like or follow or in the email database, accept this content, I'm opting. It doesn't necessarily have to be blog subscribers, but it's people who are listening to that tune of your story. And if that story, that content plan is positioned in a way which you're able to create a very clear voice for your clients, then you've got their prospects, their customers locked into your story, and that's what you're offering them over a period of time, which is 2 years. It takes 2 years to do this. Another question at the back. Yeah, okay, good question. So the question being, why do I think there's a relevance to B2B to B2C for an approach like this? I'm repeating the question in a different way, but we got there. So I would say we've got some clients who are e-commerce sites that sell, jewelry and do badges for sake. We use the approach, but we gear it so the services, the 5 steps, we offer different 5 steps for those clients. And we can do that in a lot more quicker fashion in a B2C environment than we do in a B2B environment. We're focusing on B2B purely because of our skill set in the business, the people we've recruited, and the reason why we're going about that. But in terms of the 5 steps are relevant to everybody because it's continuous improvemently looking at data and setting expectations and providing transparency. But at the end of the day, the way the services are delivered are certainly different in a B2B to a B2C environment. But absolutely relevant. So effectively what we're selling people is an opt-in community to slay elephants, big retainers, 2 years, 9 months, no ROI. Thank you very much. I'll finish it. It depends how I'm going to do it for time. 3 minutes to 12. I've got half an hour. 15 minutes. So I'm pretty much there. So yeah, I thought I'd throw HubSpot slides up because they'd kill me for not talking about them at all. But yeah, we couldn't do it without the measurement and continuous improvement. So the other 5th and 6th expectations was you've got to be continuously improvement, saying to the client, and you've got to provide measurement or transparency. And this is what we're doing over the marketing business process, and that allows us then to show them that we're always improving. Because we're always improving, we're going in the right direction. If it starts tailing off, then we're obviously doing something wrong, and that, so far, has not been the case. So that's what we're selling, positioning, going through to make our customers understand that they want to pay good money. And we go into these elephant-type accounts, and these elephant accounts are typically, as I said, for software as a service, software companies, business-to-business companies, people who have a higher cost per lead. So a couple of our clients, they sell a big system, it's £200,000, justified. Let's spend some more money with Tomorrow People. That's what we're trying to qualify. Who is exactly we're after, and why do we want to chase them? So this was our actually website. So just so you know, you can see here going through the flight path that we did for ourselves, going from 1,000 visitors, and we're now up to 8,000. It's actually past 9,000 today for some reason. Thanks very much. Our lead flow coming into the business, flight path, again, always going up, some peaks, some troughs, but we're going in the right direction. Generally producing between 200 and 500 leads a month, depending on what we're looking at, or downloads, as we like to call them, not leads as yet. But effectively, that's what we're doing in terms of a continuous improvement process, and that allows us to be successful. So I'm sure you've heard this all the time, but I don't want to repeat myself too much, and we'll take some questions in a moment. But we talked about the 2 pillars to our success of selling big retainers and making ourselves profitable. One was the sales process. So we sell our 5 steps. We do it in a solution selling or customer-centric way. So if you've looked at any of the how you sell software to companies, it's really down to the methodology that we follow. So the sales process for us, very easily, get the sponsorship with the boss. Yeah? Find out who the evaluation team is, identify those, take them through our first current state opportunity review, so we interview them all. We then do a future state, and we say, right, based on what you told us, here's what we're telling you. And telling you that you're going to get 2 years to build an opt-in community. It's going to be 9 months before you get an ROI. And this is the content we're going to start structuring around your key personas. So we do quite a lot of work up front to get to the point where we provide them with a proposal. So the steps are, again, executive sponsorship, solution or sphere of influence, and then take them through a current state and then a future state activity. They are all full 1-day activities. There's a very structured agenda for each of them. It's face-to-face, yeah? So there's no over the phone, oh, we can do all this lovely stuff for you. We've taken the whole team through it. Why do we lose deals? Because the whole team doesn't go through it. But if we get the whole team going through it, we're starting to manage, or initially in a good engagement that's going to help us manage the change in the business. And then finally, these are my 2 pillars. Sorry, I forgot to talk about the pillars. These were the 2 pillars I ripped off the internet about an hour ago. Just so that was one looking, and that was quite a phallic looking one, but really that was, that's in Wales. That is actually, yeah, very close to where we live in Birmingham. So what do we do in terms of resources to make sure that we're structured in a way which is actually going to deliver value? So we hired all these people to deliver to the expectation that we set. So we have a strategy director, that's me, account director who looks purely after the client. Yeah, he doesn't do any delivery at all. He just looks after the client, takes the requirement, captures the requirement, brings it in. We have a performance director that looks after all the metrics. Yeah, so he is responsible for the performance of the client. We have somebody who does SEO and PPC in-house, so it's connected to the content, connected to what we do. We then have a community manager, plural, that we actually then push this content out. And therefore, these are all aligned to our 5 steps. So as we go through online PR, editor is somebody we have in-house that drives the content plan. We use journalists from industry that have niche domain knowledge. We have a project manager that brings it all together. And the creative team put all their nice fluffy bits on top. Talking to fluffy bits on top, the most important thing that we identified when we went through this was we need to have something different in the market. So no stock imagery, nothing like that. We have bespoke, customized imagery that we put to everything, and that is the thing that makes a difference. We tried an experiment. We did all the boring stuff and then our own customized stuff. The stats were absolutely demonstrably in favor of us differentiating not only us but our clients in the market of a lot of content. Quirky, funny, light-hearted stuff is the thing that actually works at the top of the funnel well for us and for our clients. So that's the project team that we have. So really, to slay elephants, yeah, so the ones on the left-hand side, yeah, big retainers, 40, 50% margin on it, long expectation, lot of pressure that's relieved from that, but we're working in a very, very hands-on fashion, is allowing us to make some very good money in a very short space of time based on following this model. So that leaves the question, we're generating all these leads, yeah, and we can't service them because we're choosing to go for the elephants and not the other side. The raccoon, I was going to call it, I don't know whether it's raccoon or not, but it looks something that is struggling with something. And that's normally a lot of companies that come to us and go, yeah, can you do us, do email marketing for us, or you do content for us? Yeah, please help us. And you do a little bit of investigation, you find out marketing is the last thing of the problems. It's really the business itself, no proposition. There's so many things you like, but we don't want to turn them away. So what we did was identify that there's another segment of the market we can tackle and also do that profitably. So we assume that we segment everybody on the elephant side, big retainers. We want to still service the people that we're generating leads because we're spending money on generating all this people coming to our website and downloading stuff. I don't know if that's a common theme in the room? Yeah? Lots of leads, you can't do anything with them. Are they leads? Don't know, not sure. They're definitely a way. So what we did was took out Zuba, our 5 steps, and we developed a training offering, yeah? So we have a 2-day training course because we couldn't service the market. We can't do retainers for them because they, A, haven't got the money, and B, they're going to be a pain in the arse, you know? So what we want to do is structure our training to deliver a program. So what did we do on that? We took our Zuba approach, we set up a new website, we promoted it as a training offering. The training director's here called Sam. We still follow the steps of the methodology. So we train people on a 2-day basic course for £900. It's a public course, yeah? We also do bespoke in-house for £2,800. And we also have a 6-day advanced course that we developed with Birmingham City University and the UK government, which was another story in itself, and I'd love to tell you that one, but I just don't have the time. But come up and speak to us later and we'll fill you in. But we ended up structuring our 5 steps, our continuous improvement process. So we're servicing now all the leads that we couldn't do before. They come on the course for 2 days, yeah? They learn about the methodology. They go, right, God, we need to buy a bit of software and we need to start developing a load of content. Cool, off you go. So we're servicing them through making good money. We're doing £22,000 per calendar month. We have trained 175 people on that, and it's only been running 4 months, 5 months. We've got the course booklet here today, and here's a little bit of a sales pitch for you coming up. But Sam, do you want to pass them around? We'd like them back if we could, but this will show you the methodology of what we've got and how we're servicing that market. And this is what we ran through with HubSpot to say, look, hey, we've got all these leads, we want to service them. It is very much a hands-on scenario where we're actually training them in the 2 days around our methodology, but obviously it's very much geared to doing inbound and content marketing. It really provides us with an opportunity to service a nice revenue stream, okay? And in terms of the Zuba website, you can all go to it. There is, if you want to become an alliance partner, you're more than welcome to do so. But you would get licensing of the materials that we've developed, the 2-day, the 5-day. It will go online at some point, but we, again, pretty embryonic, as you can see through it. But it's a good way of servicing retainers in a very simple way. Hands-on, and everybody goes, yeah, but you can do all the HubSpot training online. Yes, you can, and it's excellent, and you can do that. But this is about how you as a consultant or as you as an individual get more engaged and make sure they buy HubSpot and they actually understand the methodology, and it's helping you sell, okay? So what we do as part of the Zuba offering, the 2-day and the 6-day, is we deliver that as part of the retainers now. And that solved one of the biggest issues we had, is how do we manage the change within the business by just doing all this stuff for them, because there's no responsibility on their shoulders. It's almost like, hey, you tomorrow people, you said you'd do 9 months and loads of leads. I'm like going, well, technically, yeah, but you need to do something for us. The reality is, if you look at it, we do the 2-day and the 6-day is to be able to get everybody on the same page, learning and transferring skills, and they're never going to need or be able to recruit people who've got the skill set that we have. So we're going in and delivering, you know, very, very focused skills all around the HubSpot platform and ensuring that we're servicing the market in a way which we couldn't have done before. We're now differentiating our consultancy offering, the elephant side, with more of we're now official trained consultants coming in and delivering a new methodology. It was done with Birmingham City University, which is, we did it in conjunction with McCann Erickson, another company called Found. We owned the IP to it, and it just gives you a simple way of helping you sell more HubSpot licenses and getting more people on the same page. But you've got to do it face to face, because that's one of the biggest things that we've learned, is that doing e-learning, all that is great, but it's not quite as powerful as managing change in an organization. So that is the presentation of how you do, that's where we are today. And, you know, I'll take some questions if we have time. Question at the back. Yeah, so we hired a training director. He's just sat here, and he's actually doing the training for us. But yeah, in terms of a resource, which we obviously have in the UK, but it's something that we, yeah, do in-house. Yeah, so we do that with, we've just hired a developer. We're outsourcing some of the HubSpot stuff. We normally have a developer that we use freelance for the last few years, but he's now in-house doing it for us. Question?
As far as the development of the website and
Yeah,
the content creation,
yeah.
how do you manage those costs around retainers, or who does that get done by?
Yeah, so we identify basically every item and the cost associated to that. So we did a costing exercise of exactly what it takes based on the internal and external resources, so the fixed overhead that we had with the salaries as such, and then worked through what the variables were based on the types of retainers that we'd work to, and then we put some financial models together, and then came up with a scenario after we went through 3 quarters worth of activity to really get to a point where we know what margin we're making now on the projects. People are recording timesheets and stuff like that now, so.
Does that vary by client?
Yeah, it does. Depends on what their objective is and what type of content strategy we put in place, whether it's just awareness if they've got no traffic coming across their site. We've got other sites that have got 20,000 people coming across it, so it's all about conversion, so middle of the funnel activity.
So to be clear, your sales process, you're identifying what bucket?
Yeah, so it's almost, we categorize it awareness, consideration, decision. If everybody has got decision-based content, so case studies and stuff, we then look at what we need to do from a funnel perspective, i.e. number of visitors to convert into leads, and convert also downloads to leads, then convert into revenue. And then we do a projection, and we do 3 projections, short, medium, and long term, and then we look at modeling that to make sure that you can show you, based on where you are, you're going to get the curve, and we're pretty much there, to be fair, on how that works. Question?
Yeah, so in terms of like a 2-year contract, kind of like termination clause.
Yeah. So after they can't terminate after the first year, before the first year is up, and then they're basically on a 3 or 6 month, depending on how we can get on with the negotiation of that. But they are committing resources, budget, mentally, physically to that 2-year journey. Question at the back.
Yeah, I guess one of the slides that you had up there was the sales process. So you went and then you do the 2 days. You had a number of
Yeah.
stages, and if you call that the sales process, but to an opportunity review, the discovery day, is that before a contract is signed?
Yes. Yeah. So we do that.
So how do you do that? How do you get somebody to give that amount of time and that amount of commitment on site on behalf of the company, the executive sponsor?
Yeah, first step, get that man or woman on board, make sure they get it, believe it, and are the right person, the right profile. There's a lot of people say, yeah, I want to manage change, I want to make an improvement, but that you qualify them out straight away. So it's all around qualifying that elephant. Do they look? And it's personality, it's culture, so many things that we go through to make sure, yeah, they're the right fit for us.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you already pre-sold it in some respects to the big guy, and the others, you're just making sure that they're coming along.
Yeah, it's a sphere of influence. So, who are the main influence in their business? You've got the sponsor, the champion, and then the key influencers sit around it. And that's how we work that program. And we do match the same people to the same personalities. So we take them all the way through. And that's how we make sure that everybody's on the same page. So, it's working a multi-team selling approach. Cool.
Do you look at any cultural elements of the businesses before you start to work with them, or is that part of the areas that you try to focus on helping them adjust to?
Yeah, so question was around, do we help manage the cultural challenges that they have internally, which is mainly the thing that, the sales and marketing alignment. But yeah, we help them address that. The training helps get everybody onto the first stage. But also we've learned that, again, if you've got the people who are disjointed from the team, based on doing what we do as a competency assessment before and after, we actually identified that feedback into the sponsor. So we're helping them manage the change more effectively on the retainer side. Cool. Questions? Go on then. Quick question.
2 years from now,
Yeah.
what do you think the mix of your business will be between training and retainer?
I would like to say it's pretty much going to be 50-50. Yeah. So we've got some good government contracts that are coming down the pipeline that have agreed to work with us on this. So we're scaling up basically to do that from a from the training side. From the do I want to grow a 50, 60 man agency? Not really. do we want to make good money with the clients that we've got? And I like ideas, so let's throw loads of ideas at people and just keep that nice relationship going. As long as it's measured and that they're locked into you, they can go and do it with somebody else, but I'd, beat anybody to find anybody as good as we are to do it. So, another question. Yeah, it's business transformation that we're looking at doing and taking, which we find traditional environments where you've got maybe 5 people in a marketing team. They're all very traditionally, picking out emails, really pissed off that they're sending out emails, but they're still doing it. And people who are just very disconnected from the digital world, that is a prime target for us, which there are pretty much all of them. Because if you look at any of the research, like from Serious Decisions or anyone like that, the web world was so far as a disconnect. It was almost like the marketing team came up with the idea, and then they went, digital guy, sort it out for us, or woman. Now that's at the very center of it, and therefore the focus is around the website as being the main vehicle that you can manage, and it's all about managing the change around the website, how our interaction takes place, and that's how we work with clients to look at that as the main focus, going from the pendulum swing, tactical to strategic, starting point 2 years. Final question, I think. Go for it.
Curious on the billing structure over the 2 years.
Okay, so the billing structure, the works that we look at, ideally costing it at the very beginning. Yeah, we agree them to a payment schedule. We get them to sign up to a direct debit, first of all, and we get them to pay for us on no terms, on a monthly basis, and they pay directly into us as an organisation. That's the ideal situation, and everybody tries to negotiate, and we just say, look, that's how we work. We're a small business. We need to service these, and we get everybody to do that. I like to try and get more money up front. So I negotiate a deal with them where we will reduce it from 10,000 to 7,000, but you pay up, 25% or 30% up front that covers all the costs. And that's how we can, from a cash flow and how we've done this year, we've boosted our cash flow heavily. And I would recommend that to anybody, to pitch high, go in and then negotiate for cash up front. And that's basically giving you working capital to grow your business quicker than you would normally. And that's definitely worked for us, hence why we were able to employ all these people. All right. Okay. I hope that was worth it. All right. Cheers.